Welcome everybody to Partner Talk Live. Today is a Tuesday. It's a sunny Tuesday here in Oregon. Happy that you're all here with us today for our conversation with Certificial. Friends of the series know my name is Kenny. I'm HawkSoft's Director of Partner Integrations, and it is my pleasure to work with all of HawkSoft's API and referral partners in bringing their services to our customers. Some housekeeping before we get things started. As always, this webinar is being recorded, and we will share the recording with you afterwards, as well as everyone else who has signed up for the series. If you have a question during the presentation, we strongly encourage you to send it via the Q&A feature. That way I can keep track of it and I don't lose it. We will likely do a Q&A session at the end of this presentation, where we'll answer those questions if they're not already answered during the presentation itself. You can, I'm a little lenient, you can put the question in chat and I'll do my best to track it, but I might lose it, so it's best to put it in the Q&A spot. Partner Talk Live is all about meeting the partners in HawkSoft's ecosystem and understanding how they can help drive more success at your agency. A quick little plug for a big event we're doing in May, where you'll be able to meet with our two presenters today in person. Our HawkSoft User Group National Conference happening in Orlando, Florida, May 11th through the 13th. Really encourage everyone to attend. It's a great opportunity to see our partners, meet with our partners, and it's actually a focus of this year's conference. We're going to be doing a lot of conversations around integration, how integrations are impacting agencies. And so it's going to be a great event to be at. You can go to hawksoft.com/hug, and that'll direct you to all the information you need. Super excited for today's presentation. Two of the earliest partners in the program with HawkSoft. It's been an extreme pleasure to work with these two gentlemen for a number of years now as they bring their platform to the independent agency space. We're joined today by Certificial. We have Pete and Rob, co-founders of the company, and two very experienced individuals in the insurtech space. I'm going to do a little bit of an introduction before I pass it over to them for the real presentation you guys are here to hear. But I really want to highlight, from my perspective, Certificial is kind of a gold standard in what I try to achieve through our partnership program, which is there might be functionality in HawkSoft that we have, but there might also be people who are specializing in it, who are modernizing it, who are really pushing the envelope in what is capable in a workflow or in a process, in a major function of an agency. And yes, in HawkSoft, you can create certificates. We have all the Accord forms. You can create a certificate of insurance. We have a tool for self-service on that. But it's, while it's something we do well, it's not our specialty. It's not the only thing we focus on. And so a partner like Certificial, where they are new, tech forward, focusing on how to evolve the COI process and the certificate process within the insurance space, that's what the whole partnership program is about. And so I'm super excited to have Pete and Rob here with us. I won't force you to listen to me drone on any longer. I'm going to pass it over to them. I feel very fortunate in working with them frequently. We meet often to talk about how to improve the service for HawkSoft customers. So without further ado, today's Partner Talk Live presentation is with Certificial. Pete and Rob, over to you.
Great. Thank you, Kenny. I really, really appreciate that introduction. And of course, we echo your thoughts. I mean, first, we appreciate, the opportunity to be here today to speak to the HawkSoft user group. But certainly, you guys have been a great partner. It's always refreshing. Someone like myself who's been in the insurance industry a long time, seeing leaders like HawkSoft coming into the market and just based on, that statement you made, right, of really understanding partnerships and we don't need to do everything ourselves, right? And that's something I preach, and I've always preached in the insurance space, right? It goes well beyond agency management systems and certificates of insurance. It comes to the way we interact with carriers. There's a huge ecosystem here, and we've got to have better collaboration and communication amongst our systems if we're going to truly modernize and be innovative, and not just put a bunch of band-aids on legacy broken processes. So, Yeah, that's great. Glad to be here again, guys. I'll do a quick introduction, give Rob the ability to do the same. My name is Pete Teresi, so I'm a co-founder here and CEO at Certificial. As I just mentioned, I've been in the insurance industry for quite some time now, almost 18 years if I'm not mistaken. I've spent a large portion of my career with the Accord organization. That's allowed me to get very close not only to certificates of insurance, but standards in general. Work closely with agents and brokers. And so really excited to share with you today about Certificial, what we've created with Hawksoft, and how hopefully we can bring some operational efficiency to each one of your organizations. Last thing I'll say is we're a true partner here, not only to Hawksoft, but to each and every one of you. This is not a sales presentation. We're here to give away some great technology, some great services, and work with you guys. So looking forward to diving in and having some fun. And I'll kick it off to Rob. Rob, again, as Kenny mentioned, is a co-founder here. He's also going to help keep me on track so I don't go down some crazy paths and take you guys down, demo lane. I'm going to want to show you probably more than I have the time to do. So please be vocal, throw questions in the chat. Let's make this the best use of your time because that's what we're here to do. Over to you, Rob. Oh, you're muted, buddy.
Rob Ledchett, co-founder here at Certificial. So my background's more in process transformation. I did spend about 8 years with Liberty Mutual, and I've been across a bunch of carriers as a consultant. Met Pete while he was actually at Accord, so spent a few years there as well, doing some work. Wanted to just kind of make sure that we get out there that if you guys have any questions after this presentation, please go to our website, certificial.com. There's a demo button right there. We can dive deeper than we can get today, but appreciate the opportunity to be here and chat with you guys. Thank you.
Great. I'll go ahead and share my screen. If at any point in time there's any technical glitches or problems or even just internet for you guys, and we'll do your best to clue me in on that, but hopefully we'll be smooth sailing. So, for today, you guys may have had some introduction to Certificial in the past. We are going to talk and focus more on the innovative aspect of what we're doing here, working in the insurance industry in each and every one of you. So we'll be covering quite a bit, but first and foremost, I just want to kind of cover some of the key aspects of Certificial, some of the fundamental issues that we're here to really change around certificates of insurance, and that is that certificates are documents at the end of the day, and by the pure nature of a document, they are point-in-time information. That in itself creates a lot of challenges, and I think most of the technology we see available in this space right now is either producing documents or extracting information off of documents. But again, to my earlier comment I made during the introduction, I see that as more of a Band-Aid to a problem. When I look at the amount of time and effort that goes into certificates of insurance, and doesn't matter which one of the key stakeholders hats you're wearing, right? If I'm wearing an insurance producer's hat, if I'm a policy holder trying to basically commence work and get my job done, or if I am a certificate holder trying to maintain some compliance and protect my organization, there's a tremendous amount of cost and time that goes into this process. And I have to ask, for what? For what real level of compliance are we actually achieving today? I see a lot of E&O risk. I see a lot of E&O exposure being introduced into the process. I see a false level of compliance because I have a certificate that I rely on 12 months out of the year. I have no idea if that premium was even paid last month. So I see a check in a box to say I've done something, I've executed a task, but I don't know that I've actually achieved the end goal, which is truly compliance. That's what this is really all about. And that's why I believe we do need to be really innovative in this space. We need to really think about leveraging the technology that we have available to us today because of all the great solutions in the marketplace and bringing them together. And that's why when we look at, Certificial, we see a smart COI network. We don't just see another tool or another platform to create a certificate of insurance. And what we are doing here is we really are building an ecosystem. We're allowing organizations to communicate on the network and be able to interact and create a digital data relationship between your system, in this case Hawksoft, your clients, so they can actually have a view inside that as well through a portal, and every one of their certificate holders, a digital connection and relationship, a data first experience. And it does not matter on our platform what level of maturity any of those other participants may be currently at. So if they are if they're not on the system at all, it doesn't really hinder your ability to use Certificial and to get all the benefits of it. We still create these digital connections, and at any point in time, they can join the network and they can then gain the benefits of it as well. And that's the reason why we're able to look at this in a very transformed process, and we're going to dive into that, as well as be able to support, what we call legacy mode and traditional processing, even if it's printing a COI. Believe it or not, it happens, and it can happen on a smart COI network. But today, what we're really going to be doing is focusing here on this carrier broker space, and really talking about how you can issue certificate holders to anybody. But on our network, we have a lot of software partners, and what that means is that we're integrating with many of the vendor management solutions, compliance management solutions that are already in the marketplace. These various locations that you're going to have to, you probably today are taking your certificates, or your clients are taking those certificates and going to upload to those sites. We are creating straight through processing to those organizations. We're going to show you a little bit more what that looks like. The network also gives a logon for your policyholders, the insureds. They have access to their certificates. They can generate new ones. They can see all of their cert holders, and they can self-service COIs as well. Last, but actually it's not last, but in addition to that, they can also switch over into what we call requester mode. This allows an insured, using just a simple toggle button, to actually flip the application, and rather than looking through the lens of a policyholder, I am now a certificate holder monitoring coverage of others. So that creates a really kind of a nice 360 holistic environment for your clients. And then last but not least, of course, everything is performed on industry approved forms, and practicing and following all the necessary regulatory and best practices. So the network does all of this and then some. With that being said, we've also introduced what we call dynamic certificates of insurance. So, I mentioned I worked for Accord for a number of years. We're now a licensed solution provider of Accord and CSIO for the Canadian market. And what dynamic COIs really allow us to do is allow us to take that digital connection, that relationship, and actually make the certificate of insurance in itself just that, dynamic. So as data changes at any point in time, if the policy gets canceled or expired, we can remove it from a form. If the limits change, we can adjust the information on the form. If there's a cancellation, anything you can possibly think of is completely automated. This is where we're going to reduce the E&O coverage for our industry, and we're going to drastically increase the compliance for anyone looking to monitor and maintain some type of compliance with another person's policy information, because this information is real time and is continuous. And the certificates are always representing the current state of that information, not the last time a certificate was requested or generated and distributed via email, mail, or some other communication. Again, we have these capabilities, right? Not all your cert holders are going to join the network tomorrow. If you need to print a COI, you can actually do that on Certificial. But even printed certificates of insurance have what we call COI IDs associated with them on the form, and they can be claimed by a certificate holder, and they can access the now current information, because it may have changed from the 6-month-old form they may be holding in their hand. So we'll dive into it again, and we'll talk a little bit more about this and show you exactly how we accomplish all this. The platform does have 3 key modules to it. There's really only 2 profile types. So what I'll be showing you today is a little bit around the agent broker side. We'll probably spend the majority of our time there for obvious reasons. Create a few smart COIs of our own. And then I'll show you what this kind of looks like for your insured. And of course, how they can also easily, under the same logon, switch over to requester mode and gain and start to monitor insurance of others. And again, you'll see as agents or brokers in this particular process, you have access to all 3 sides of the module for any one of your customers. So that being said, a little bit of where we are today. We have been lucky to have over 9,000 unique insurance producer organizations join the platform. Again, as I mentioned, earlier, there's no cost to distribute certificates of insurance on Certificial. We believe that this is a process that needs to be transformed from within. That, the certificate of insurance is a great way of standardizing the display of information, but it does not standardize the process. And there's a lot to standardize in this process. Not only how we distribute it, but also what certificate holders can even request and ask for. And I'm a firm believer that, even if it's a process you're looking to standardize, if you're looking to standardize it, give it away. So of course the company has a funding mechanism. Really it's by our software partners and by, compliance management organizations that elect to use our service in a much, in a different type of capacity, but that's how we're funded. That's what allows us to build our technology. That's what allows us to empower the insurance industry, put these tools in your hands, because we have to transform this process from within. It cannot be achieved on the receiving side of the house. It has to be done from an insurance producer's perspective. And last but not least, these are some of those companies that support us, are able to enable us to build this technology and offer what we're about to show you today. So at this point, I am going to jump into a little product demo, but if you guys do have any questions or just certain things, because I've said a lot, please do feel free, go ahead and chime on in. There's a lot happening here. There's a lot going on inside this application, but I'll continue to move along. But again, Rob, if you see any questions, feel free to just kind of jump on in and steer the direction.
Yep. Clean Q&A sheet now, but feel free to ask questions you guys got.
I'm doing great or terribly bad. We'll find out. So what we're showing here is I'm logged on as an insurance agent or broker. So I'm going to show you kind of a view of each of the three modules. This is kind of what it looks like. Again, there's so much to show you guys, but I'll keep it pretty simple. What I'm seeing here are my clients on the left. I have one particular one highlighted, which is this Transdev Rail organization. And we can see all their policies here, which they have quite a number of lines of business being covered. Now, all this information gets populated automatically through our HawkSoft integration. So when you log on, you should expect your profile to look similar to this with your clients and your clients' policy information. I mentioned that we are in the process of onboarding lots of the compliance management solution providers that are in the marketplace today. You may already received requests for insurance for some of them. There's a lot more happening in the next quarter where there's going to be a lot more activity there. This is a good thing. What happens is any request coming in from a certificate holder or an integrated partner on the network is going to come up here in this open request tab. And what it's going to show you is basically any one of your clients. In this case, we're looking at Chapman, and they have a request for JLL. And this is what a request comes in on our system, completely data driven. So we're actually looking at the specific insurance requirements that are pulled from the MSA between Chapman and JLL. In this case, it's an automobile and a general liability, and we can even see those insurance requirements have a bit of a deficiency on them at the moment. Responding to a request for insurance is very simple. All we're going to do is hit this check mark here. It's going to basically bring up a wizard, which is going to automatically pull in some information. I'm going to talk a little more about this in a minute, but it pulls in the policy information for us. In this case, they're not even asking for a description of operations. That's a lovely thing. No additional documents, cert holders automatically being provided directly by the system. And on our summary, we're going to notice that we're non-compliant, right? Kind of like we saw a moment ago, that same deficiency. This is because in Certificial, you actually have the same view as the compliance manager is going to be able to view at JLL in this particular situation. So I'm going to show you how, quickly, not only are we able to detect that, and that helps us from having all that back and forth. Submitting a COI, so easy to miss a limit, not matching. Sending a COI in, a day goes by, the client's unhappy, now we got to issue another COI, and back and forth we go. Where in this case, the system flagged it for me, and all I have to do is add in my umbrella, because the system also has a relationship between follows form and knowing what particular policies are being covered. So as I kind of navigate back over to my summary tab, you'll see I am now in complete compliance because I've added my umbrella policy. It is already scheduled to follow form on my automobile and CGL. And I can safely submit this knowing that I'll be in full compliance because I have the same view as the compliance manager. And it'll be this Accord 25 a form right here that's going to be generated based on the liability coverage selected. So we can take a little more, we'll dive a little bit deeper into the product and then show you guys a bit more. So very easy to respond. If you guys like, we can go ahead and do something a little more complex. I'll take one more workflow and then I'll kind of show you what this looks like for your clients and with some of the some of the value that they can directly receive from the system as well. So again, the thing to remember here is these are all smart COIs that are being created, right? So whether I'm responding to JLL or whether I'm about to do, send a COI to someone that's not even on the network as I'm about to do right now, these certificates are real time. So if anything changes, if these policies renew, if any of these limits change, I have the ability to automatically, the system will automatically generate and version out brand new certificates of insurance. They'll always be in the system. And you can, with a click of a button, you can email all of your cert holders new copies if you like. Literally takes seconds, or you can automate the entire process and just have them sent out. So let's go ahead and do one last COI. We're going to do something a little more complex. I want to show you guys some of the cool things that we can do with Hawksoft. On our automobile policies, we're able to pull in vehicle coverage information like VIN numbers and more. So all this information comes over. This allows us to basically decide if we want this information shown inside a description of operations on a certificate of insurance, since there's no place for VIN numbers. But it allows it to yet again be dynamic. As I'm adding VIN numbers, my COIs can automatically update, which is pretty cool. I don't need to worry about going in there and manually changing text and code. And the same thing even for commercial property. We're going to go ahead and create a 28. I know everyone cringes when they hear about this form because it's not an easy form, but in our system, everything, we're able to pull in the policy information, the location details, everything, and again, even automate some of the more complex commercial property forms that you may be dealing with. Before we go ahead and create this, just a few other things to highlight here. From coverage templates, I created one today for our Hawksoft demo. This is a configuration of templates where you can basically select policies, endorsements. I'm automatically pulling in blanket endorsement documents. And again, in a more detailed demo, we can show you all the cool things we do with endorsement documents. My pre-defined language for my description of operations and more. And so coverage templates are nice. You could also make coverage templates available to your clients so they can easily just select a template that's got pre-approved policies, endorsements, and language and get it off to their own certificate holders. And then again, we'll also give you a little example of how we can get into additional named insureds, right? So in this particular case, under TransDev Rail, we have 3 other named insureds. So let's go ahead and kind of put all this to use real quick. I'm going to show you how, from this point in a few seconds, I can create some advanced commercial property, automobile, and more. So I'm just going to go into Manage Compliance. You have something to say, Kenny?
There are some questions in chat, but I think they're best addressed at the end of the demo. It's about cost structure and then how Hawksoft connects to it. So I don't want to disrupt your flow right now, but there are those questions for after.
Yeah, so I'll wrap this up nice and quick and we'll get over to it. I'll make sure we have enough time to definitely address that. So if I'm just coming in here to basically, all I have to do is click share to share a policy. This is a way we can add certificate holders that are not currently on our system today. So I'm actually pulling this from an address book. It's able to pull the information in. As you can see here, I'll go ahead and select that coverage template for our Hawksoft demo. That's going to be giving me a pre-configuration of all my policies and my endorsements. I'm going to go ahead and pull in all of my property locations, which we can see here from my commercial property. My insureds, again, I could even pull in all of my additional named insureds. I could even decide which ones I want as primary. So if I want to go ahead and swap out Rail and have them listed as the primary instead of TransDev Rail, we can swap those guys out. Our remarks are pre-populated. We can choose our forms. Again, I'm going to leave the Accord 28 for the commercial. Liability is always going to use a 25, so no options there. Cert holder information is pre-populated. We can add loan numbers, lending service agent information, but again, we'll keep it simple. And that's it. I mean, that's how easy it is to come in here and start to create not only Accord 25s, but in this case, I'll show you a generation off of a property form where we can do an Accord 28. And while that generates, I'll give you a quick view here what this looks like for your client. So if TransDev Rail with the log on to the system, the same client we're accessing, they can access insured mode. They can see their policies, access all of their cert holders, and as well as, pull up any of these records, access to their certificates of insurance. Again, you can see here how all the COIs are versioned out. This is the history of them. This is kind of an extreme example, but at the end of the day, as the data changes, the COIs are always going to be in here, going to be current. Your insureds can easily share their own policies and create their own COIs. And as I mentioned earlier, all they have to do is hit this toggle button. They're going to flip over into requester mode. They can monitor the insurance of others now. So now this is a full 360 holistic environment for all of their COI needs. Again, we're going to circle back to that form. You can see our commercial property has generated, all nicely filled out, at least for the selections I have available. Our signatures and such will be added once we actually create the form. We can see our named insureds, and I guess at the top of this, we can even see that Railway is actually the primary insured as opposed to TransDev. So a lot of flexibility, a lot of functionality. But again, most important is to remember we are creating dynamic COIs here. This is information that is going to automatically be produced for all the cert holders and really save you guys a ton of time come renewal and so much more. So let's talk a little bit about data. There's some questions around how we get data into the system.
It's more around does it update HawkSoft automatically was the question, but in terms of data, Pete, if you could touch on that quickly, we can go.
Sure. So look, like everything, right? Like Certificial, this is an evolving process. We have an evolving platform. Our relationship with HawkSoft is continued to evolve. We're going to be able to do a lot more in the future, but to have a lot of great, exciting things on the roadmap. There's many ways you can get data from Certificial back on HawkSoft today. There's going to be a lot more automated ways in which we can do notifications, storing of documents automatically, and more. So I would say, let's, stay closely connected with us. Of course, you're already connected with HawkSoft. They'll be able to provide updates on that as well. But, the importance to getting the most value out of HawkSoft, the most value out of anyone in the market store, whether it's Certificial or the other great, systems and solutions that are available there, is the quality of your data. There's nothing more important than that, quite honestly, right? I mean, granted, you want to be able to service your clients, but one of the things that help you service your clients is good data. So, you can always point back to that. And that's where one of the first things that we do when we do any type of integration is we do provide these data quality reports. It's going to help you understand exactly how information is being downloaded into your system, how it's being stored, whether we're using limits correctly, using the proper accord codes on policies. And it's pretty easy to really just take a look at this report and see where there's opportunities to start, correcting data, utilizing that. It's going to help you make sure that you get, again, the best use out of HawkSoft, the best use out of Certificial, and and honestly, just make sure that you're getting the best operational efficiency for your agency. So I highly recommend these. Again, these are free reports that we offer. To Rob's point, when you contact us, we're able to show you a more detailed demo, dive deeper into the weeds. It takes literally minutes to integrate with us and to start getting those data quality reports produced. But that's definitely what I wanted to make sure I had at least the opportunity to show you guys today. So I do appreciate it. I want to be cognizant of time and also just see if there's any other questions that we can answer.
Yeah, and I'll go through those questions real quick. So the first is, will the cost structure of this service be covered? So we offer this service to you all at no cost. So you can start leveraging the Smart COI network and setting up the integration between HawkSoft and Certificial by going to our website. Go to the partners page. You'll see a HawkSoft logo. Go ahead and click that, and it'll tell you exactly what you need to do. It's as simple as registering, going into your CMS within HawkSoft, clicking a couple buttons to enable Certificial sync, and then registering on Certificial. The two will find each other, and your clients and your data and their policies will start to sync into the system. As Pete mentioned, going back to the data quality report, if any of them cannot sync for some reason, we will produce that data quality report for you and inform you of what the issue is, missing email address, whatever it may be. Excuse me. So it's no cost, and that's how you get the data in. And then as you work within your AMS, as you work within HawkSoft, that data will automatically update in Certificial down to every couple minutes. So if somebody renews a policy, you update it just like you normally would, and all of that will get pushed through Certificial and pushed to the cert holders that you've previously shared that information with. How does this compare to the it's kind of cut off, but other service that HawkSoft offers? So the biggest difference really is going to be the issuance of smart COIs. So it again, going back to the more of that automation with any AMS, Hogsoft included. Once you issue a cert, and then there's renewals and whatnot, you reissue them. So the concept of a smart COI exists currently only in Certificial, but for the most part, that's I would say the primary difference.
Yeah, and if I can build on that, because I think it's a great question, and I think there's a few valuable points to be made there, right? So once we know that our COIs are current, and that the most current COI is being always utilized in the workforce, that's what's going to start to really help reduce the E&O coverage for our industry. And if you look at the downward benefits, because there is basically continued benefits to that, to doing that, your client, and we've seen this firsthand, is going to become a more desirable organization to do business with. If I know that I can get real-time insurance from one organization versus a point-in-time certificate for another, I've already seen it. We've already seen it on the platform. Organizations are attracted to that. They like that. You're actually helping your customer and your client be a more, again, a less of a risk, quite honestly. It's making a better relationship between them and their customer. Their customer, going back to my first slide earlier, actually has compliance as a result of this. So you get a benefit, and your benefit just keeps going downstream all the way to your client, to your client's client, and it's just a win-win. So it's that digital relationship and connection, although seems at some tape, if you look at it through certain lens, may seem minimal, but when you really do look at it holistically from an end-to-end workflow, you start to realize how valuable it actually really is.
And then, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, so Melissa's question hits on, how does Certificial compare to other vendors that partner with Hogsoft that offer this? Today, there are no other vendors that focus on this space that Hogsoft has an integration with. The comparative service that Hogsoft offers is our self-service certs. But to Rob and Pete's point, that is a place and time certificate still. It does not dynamically update you. The self-service component that Hogsoft offers is after you publish a COI, you can give a link to an insured to access it, but it doesn't dynamically update. And to be completely transparent, self-service certificates cost an agency $49 a month, whereas Certificial is free. Those are kind of the two big comparisons there.
And then to kind of build on kind of the ecosystem component of all of this, the other aspect is yes, you're enabling something for your clients to make them more desirable, but also there's even further downstream potential opportunity and for operational efficiency for you guys as well, in that the more of you that we get on the network, the more partners on the other side we get on the network. And there are a number of platforms that you guys could issue, you're issuing certs out all day, and there are still those platforms that everybody knows and loves that you have to go upload the cert into, even after you do that. And whether it be automatically pulling data off of it, or an offshore team manually doing it, whatever it may be, you still have to take it and either upload it or your insured does. Those kind of platforms we are integrating with on the other side in order to make that easier for and straight through process that information. And so the more of you we get on, the more attractive for them it is to get on, and we bring everybody into the smart COI network together.
I think you're spot on, Rob, but I thought for sure you were going to go with uninsured activities. We both haven't mentioned that yet.
Sure. Go ahead.
Yeah. So one of the things that we're doing too with real-time data, and this is value at the cert holder level that's making its way right back into the insurance space, is actually preventing uninsured activities. All right. Because we have real-time information, we're helping organizations to make more informed decisions and deciding, should I let somebody in a building? Should I let a vehicle leave a loading dock? Because I can actually check the insurance down to the moment, down to the VIN number, and know if the proper level of insurance is intact. That's going to help make sure I know I pay my premiums on time, because our Certificial's insurance is real time, right? We share our own real time insurance with our own investors. We make sure coverage is intact, and because it's very transparent, and it's again, it's not meant to be a stick. It's meant to be a carrot. It's there's a lot of benefit there.
So the last question we have, which I think is a really important one, it talks about getting cert holder information out of Hogsoft and into Certificial transferring that rather than import by customer. Just, that is certainly a hurdle that we're working with Kenny and Dana and team and to overcome. We are solutioning that on a probably weekly basis right now.
Yep.
Looking at it from a couple different angles. And so, we'll keep everybody up to date. I know that it's it can be somewhat of a hassle to export out client by client. Just know that we're here to support you as well. So we have, figured out ways and provided some resources to help with some of these things as well. Just know that once you transfer them out, you don't have to do it again, right? Because we'll be managing that cert holder list from there. And so we will, there are ways that we're working on to help solve for that issue. And Hawksoft has been a really helpful partner in figuring out a better way to do that. So we'll come on that.
Absolutely. And from Hawksoft's perspective, we very much believe in what Certificial is doing. And so we are putting some resources to solving that hurdle. And there's a number of different avenues that Certificial and Hawksoft are actively working on so that they have absolutely comprehensive understanding of our API and the data available there, and then also facilitating maybe some more unique solutions to solve the cert holder connection and other areas. Jumping back to Stephen Kramer's question about automatically updating Hawksoft, Certificial does have access to our two-way API, and we're exploring how to utilize that to document some of this information back into the system. So it is a possibility. Hasn't been implemented yet, but that's because the two-way API is brand spanking new. And so we're just waiting for the opportune time to do that. But please be assured that, and people have heard me say this before, I don't meet with a lot of our partners on a regular cadence, but Certificial is one that I do make a point of talking to at least every 2 weeks to stay in touch and stay on top of their ever expanding feature list. I say this a lot, but part of this PartnerTalk Live webinar series is a bit of a trick to get our partners to just show me their platforms, because sometimes it feels weird to be like, hey, I haven't seen it in a while. Can I take a peek around and look at it? Because I really want to see what you're doing. Wow. I remember the first time I saw Certificial, and it did maybe a third. The whole concept was always there, but seeing Pete go through those menus and produce that bundle with the Accord 28 and the Accord 25, wow, you guys, the development on your platform is amazing. And I'm so excited to see where else we can go together as partners and as allies for independent agents in the industry.
Appreciate that.
We appreciate it.
Awesome. No other questions have come through. The contact information is on the screen. We'll make sure to include that in the email we send after this event, along with the recording. Pete, Rob, I can't thank you enough for your continued partnership, your continued belief in Hawksoft as a community to trust and work with. And I am super excited to see you in May in Florida, where we can hopefully show off even more cool stuff.
Great. We'll be there. Appreciate it. Appreciate the time. Appreciate everybody's time today, and look forward to working with everyone. Thank you.
Excellent.
Right,
thank you very much to Dana Stevens for producing this webinar. And I hope you all have a great rest of your week, and I will see you next Tuesday for our next edition of PartnerTalk Live.
Great. Thanks again.